Good afternoon and welcome back to my channel. Firstly, I never ever thought that I would record a video to post on any kind of social media without any makeup on, but here we are, mum life. I was going to do my makeup, especially for this video, and then I thought I can't be bothered, and Lenny's napping, I've got a hot cup of tea, I don't look too horrendous, so I just thought, whatever, I'm just going to roll with it. I also expected that I would, so I had these great plans when I was pregnant of recording lots of videos. I really wanted to do like day in the life of me and Lenny when he was newborn and stuff like that, and loads of baby related videos, but I will hold my hands up and be the first to admit that motherhood is harder than I thought. It's wonderful, but it's harder than I thought. But anyway, I'm going to save that for another video, and this one is actually going to be about my birth story. So I have done a post about this, but I've not actually recorded a video about it, and I want to do it before it's not so fresh in my head, and as much for me to look back on as for anyone else that may benefit from watching this. So I had a lovely pregnancy. I found out I was pregnant when I was about 4 weeks, 4 or 5 weeks. I had a lovely pregnancy. I had no morning sickness. I had no pains really. I had the odd little thing, like a little bit of backache and stuff. I'm just looking down here at the monitor. I'm just gonna put that there so I can glance at it while he's napping, but he'll be fine. He'll be asleep for probably an hour. I just sailed through pregnancy thinking that I was incredibly lucky, and then for the last couple of months, or probably about a month actually, I was listening to hypnobirthing tracks. So I would sit in the bath listening to my hypnobirthing, I would be walking the dog listening to hypnobirthing, and just these really positive messages about how birth can be really incredible and it can be, really empowering. And I had in my head, I didn't have a birth plan because I was very much under the impression that what will be. I have no idea. I've never done it before. I don't know how I'm going to deal with the pain. I don't know what it's going to be like. This is my first time. I just don't have a clue. And so I didn't want to have a plan and then be disappointed when that didn't go to plan. So I spoke to my midwife about ideally what I wanted, which was to go up to the Spires in the John Radcliffe Hospital in Oxfordshire. The Spires is on the top floor of the maternity bit of the building, and it is a midwifery-led birthing part of the hospital, birthing centre. And it's really lovely up there. I was lucky enough to have a little walk around whilst I was pregnant, and my idea in my head was that I was going to have water birth. I love being in the bath. I thought that the water would relax me. I could have oils burning and lights on and music playing, and it was very much, I wanted that kind of zen birthing experience. So my due date was the 1st of November, and this is sort of how it happened. So on Sunday the 16th of October, we were just having a lie-in. We were having a cup of tea and a chat and stuff in bed, and it was about 10 o'clock, and I got this sort of very dull ache in the bottom of my belly, so it felt like a period pain basically, and it sort of came on like that all of a sudden, and I sort of thought, ooh, like that. Throughout the week or 2 weeks prior to this, I'd been having lots of twinges. I'd gone into hospital to have the baby monitored because there was one day where I didn't feel him moving. We had no idea that he was here at the time, but I didn't feel him moving and as much, and so they asked me to go up just to be monitored. Everything was absolutely fine, and I'd had a couple of twinges, and I'd been losing my mucus plug gradually as well. So in my head I was a bit like, you know what, I think this baby's going to come early, but again, I've never done it before. don't know why I thought that. I just had this gut feeling that the baby was going to come early. So Sunday the 16th of October, got this pain, didn't think much of it, got up, came downstairs, had breakfast, had a cup of tea, etc, etc, got dressed, and then my partner is a carpenter, and he was going to look at a job which is about 45 minutes from our house. He was going to price this job. I was going with him, and then the plan was to go and see his mum for a cup of tea, and then go and see my mum and my stepdad for a roast dinner, stay there for a few hours, and then come back for the evening, chill out. So got dressed and everything, was just about to leave the house, and I was a little bit like, just a bit uncomfortable, but I'm heavily pregnant at this point, so I was uncomfortable anyway. And Sam said, "Are you all right, babe? Like, do you want to leave the house today, or do you just want to stay in?" It was like, because we can rearrange the visit, we can rearrange your mum's. Like, if you're not feeling up to going out, let's just not bother. And I was like, no, it'll be fine. So I said, but what I will do is just, like, I'm just going to move the hospital bag from the car to the van, just in case. Like, there was not, maybe a tiny thought, but barely a thought in my head at this point that I was in the starts of labour. So moved the hospital bag over to the van, got in. I used to find the van quite uncomfortable anyway, because you've got to step up into it. It's a Ford Transit, so you've got to step up into it. And like the seats, it is like 2 seats, so you haven't got an armrest either side of you actually if you're a passenger, and then obviously the driver's seat. So I used to find it quite uncomfortable sitting in there anyway. So we travelled the 45 minutes to this house. I sat in the van and waited. I had my makeup bag with me, so I was like popping on my makeup while Sam was in pricing this job. And then he came out, and I said, oh, I'm a bit peckish, can we stop at the petrol station and get a donut? There's a Greggs there. And I was addicted at this point to these the plain vegan iced ring donuts from Greggs. Absolutely loved them in my last few weeks of pregnancy. So we stopped at Greggs, got a donut, and I ate that. We were on the road to his mum's, and I felt the pain like going up my back at this point. So I sat there in the van, and I was sort of like leaning back like this and trying to like stretch it out a bit, and I was sort of, I think I must have like winced a little bit, and I was sort of a bit like, and Sam looked over to me and went, "You're not all right, are you?" And I was like, "No, I don't think I am." I actually would say that at this point, I'm in more than discomfort. I would say it's getting painful now. And he said, "Well, do you think something's happening?" I said, "I don't know. Like, I don't know. Maybe I've just got a really bad backache. I don't know." So we phoned his mum. She was in Aldi. She said, "I'll be back soon." And Sam said, "Oh, don't worry, we'll pop into Laura's mum's first for a cup of tea and we'll give you a ring." They live round the corner from each other. So we pop into my mum's. She goes, "Oh, you're early for dinner. Didn't expect you, this early." And I said, "I don't know if I'm going to make dinner, Mum." Like, and I got emotional when I said it. I said, "I don't know if we're going to make dinner because I think this baby's coming." And she went, "Oh, really? Oh, okay. Oh, well, that's exciting." And I was like, yeah. Then, bit of TMI, but we were stood in the kitchen, and I said to Sam, I said, "I really need a poo. Can you come with me?" I was terrified of going to the toilet on my own. Don't know what I thought was going to happen. Like, the baby wasn't going to just fall out into the toilet, but you never know. So he came with me, and I went to the toilet, and then I was just sort of sat there on the toilet, and I didn't get up for a while. I was just sat there like rocking like this. And he was like, "Do you think we need to phone the hospital?" Mum had come into the hallway by this point as well, so they're both sat there watching me have a poo. Mum sat on the stairs, and Mum said, "Well, Sam, just give the hospital a ring and just see what they say." So he phoned up to the Spires unit and said, "I think my girlfriend is in labour. What should we do?" she asked to speak to me, and she said, you know, how are you feeling? You don't sound like you're progressed enough to come in yet. I think, you know, just try and labour at home for as long as you possibly can. Obviously we will see you, but if you're not, you know, far enough along, then we're going to send you home again, so best just stay at home for as long as you possibly can. So I got off the loo and went back into mum's kitchen, and my stepdad said to me, oh, you know, sit down. And I said, I can't, like my back felt like it was breaking in half by this point. So I was sort of like leant over the breakfast bar like that. And Sam got a hot water bottle and he was rubbing my back, and I was just finding it really, really uncomfortable. Mum gave me 2 paracetamols at 3 o'clock. So bearing in mind, I'd probably only been in pain at this point for probably about an hour. So let's say 2 o'clock onwards, I would say I sort of knew that I was in labour. So 3 o'clock, she gave me 2 paracetamol. We milled about a little bit more in the kitchen, and I was sort of pacing up and down, and we were just chatting and, you know, just sort of, yeah, just like chatting. And then I said to Sam, I said, I really need to get in the bath. Now, my mum doesn't have a bath, so his mum does. And I said, can you text your mum and ask if we can go round and I can get in the bath? But obviously she was absolutely fine with that. And she was home, you know, from the shop at this point. So I said to my mum, like, we're gonna go, and I got so emotional. I don't know what came over me, the thought of leaving my mum. I take a bunny to bed every night, and I hadn't put it in the bag because I hadn't expected that we weren't coming home that night. So I'd left it here at home. I had none of my, like, I had all my essentials in the hospital bag, but I didn't have like my bunny as my comfort, or like my favourite jumper on as my comfort, or like anything like that. So I asked my mum to get me a teddy and to give me one of her tops and spray some of her perfume on it as a comfort. And I know that sounds a bit bizarre and maybe a little bit sad, but if you're close to your mum, I don't think it doesn't matter how old you are, you still find it really comforting just having something that smells like your mum nearby. So I was giving her a hug goodbye, and this little robin popped down into the garden, and she went, oh look, it's Nanny coming to wish you luck. And I just went, like, so emotional. The kind of crying that you're literally like and you can't catch your breath, and it's just completely like overtakes you, and no matter how hard you try, like, you just cry even more. Just giving my mum a hug, and she was like, it's all right. She said, why are you so upset? Are you scared? I said, yeah, I am. Like, obviously I don't know what the bloody hell's like, you know, gonna happen, how, you know, how am I gonna cope with it. She said, don't worry, like, I'm on the end of the phone and Sam's gonna look after you. And she said, you'll be absolutely fine, go, you know, go and you know, do what you need to do. So I went to his mum's and got in the bath straight away. As soon as I got there, she ran me a bath, she put a candle on, got straight in the bath, and I was in there for about, so this was probably 3:30 at this point, so I was in the bath for about 2 hours. I downloaded an app for contractions. So initially Sam was sat with me, and he was timing my contractions, and they were really sporadic. They were like 8 minutes, 7 minutes, 5 minutes, 4 minutes, 8 minutes, 9 minutes. They were all over the place for probably about the first 45 minutes maybe. And his mum and his sister, bless them, were just sat on the landing outside the bathroom door. So like the three of them were just sort of chatting, and it was really nice because I was just sat in the bath, and with every contraction I was just breathing through it. They were really manageable at this point. Like, they hurt, but they weren't terrible, they weren't, you know, excruciating, they were just manageable at this point. So just with every contraction I would sort of tap the edge of the bath, and Sam would push the timer, and then I would tap it again and he'd stop it. And then apart from that, I wasn't really talking, I was just listening to what they were chatting to, and I was just like really like concentrating on my breathing and stuff, and basically doing everything that the hypnobirthing had you know, sort of said to do. And I was finding it quite relaxing. But 2 hours passed, and the contractions were every 3 minutes, I think, at this point, and they were lasting for well over a minute. So it got to about 5:30, and we all said, I think it's time to go to the hospital now. Like they were getting worse, they were getting more painful, and we just said, yeah, I think it's definitely time to go to the hospital at this point. It's gonna get cold. So I got out of the bath. His sister dropped us off at the hospital. I had a few pretty rough contractions on the way. Again, they weren't too bad. Got out of the car at the hospital, and getting from the car back up onto my feet, it seemed to just, I don't know, like make it worse. And I think, I don't know whether maybe like arriving at the hospital also just felt like, shit, this is happening. Like, oh my God, we're here. This is it. So this guy was walking out, and he looked at me, and I was leaning on Kerry having a contraction, and he went, I'll get you a wheelchair. So he came racing out with this wheelchair, bless him. Sam and I went in up to level 7. Midwife greeted us, and she was like, oh bless you, you're doing amazingly, come into this room, be assessed. Anyway, I'll go a bit quicker now rather than giving you every single detail of the event. They assessed me. I was 6 centimeters dilated. I was like, oh my God, does that mean I can stay? She was like, hell yeah, you're not going anywhere. 6 centimeters is incredible, well done. You're not going anywhere. Do you want me to run you a pool? And I said, yes, please, absolutely, run me a pool. Off she went. Sam and I just in the room, had a contraction. I was laying on my side. Obviously I didn't have any underwear on at this point because she just examined me, so I was naked at the bottom, and I was holding Sam's hand really, really, really tight. The contractions had got way more intense since being at the hospital, and my waters just went, you heard it, they exploded all over the bed. The noise was insane, like just this massive pop. Sam went, oh my God, what was that? I said, my waters have just broken. So he rang the buzzer, they came in, she was like, don't worry, they're all clear, you know, the baby hasn't pooed, but basically, you know, they look really healthy, everything's fine. We'll let you know when the pool's ready. So it probably took them about half an hour to fill up the pool, and honestly it felt like such a long half an hour. I kept saying to Sam, I was like, is the pool ready yet? Is the pool ready yet? It really hurts, it really hurts. I hadn't had any pain relief. I have huge phobia of being sick, feeling sick, anything to do with vomit, and I'd heard lots of stories about people having gas and air and it making them either feel sick or be sick, and I thought, you know what, I can't be in pain and being sick at the same time, so I'm gonna just choose the pain option for as long as I can and just see how I get on. So I didn't have any gas and air. I got in the pool, I think it probably was about 8 o'clock in the evening, and just every minute contraction, horrendous, excruciating, but manageable. I underestimated how painful the contractions were going to be. They literally felt like they were taking over my entire body, but I was able to breathe, just breathe and breathe and breathe. I probably had my eyes closed most of the time. I gripped onto Sam the entire time, but I did manage to just breathe through them. I was in the pool for 3 hours. Went by like that. Don't know how 3 hours went past, just mental. I hadn't pushed. The midwives hadn't told me to push. I hadn't felt the urge to push. I was just labouring. Like, I didn't have a clue how many centimetres I was. I just didn't know. Anyway, got to about 11 o'clock, 10 past 11, and the midwife said, Laura, I think you probably need to have a wee, and that's the reason why the baby's head isn't coming down for you to push, is because you've got a full bladder, and I really think you need to have a wee. She could have paid me £1 million to have a wee. There was no way. Like, not because I didn't want to, I absolutely wanted to. She was like, just do it in the water. I thought, well, yeah, obviously I'm going to do it in the water, but I couldn't. I just literally couldn't. Like I say, somebody could have paid me £1 million. I could not wee. So in the end, she said, right, we're going to have to get you out of the pool and put a catheter in, drain your bladder, because that's the reason why the baby's head isn't coming down. So I got out of the pool, harder than I thought that would be as well. Made it over to the bed. She popped a catheter in. It took 30 seconds. I didn't even feel it. It was absolutely fine. She drained my bladder, and then she went, right, that's better. You definitely needed a wee. That's gone now. She said, do you want to get back in the pool or do you want to stay on the bed? Just after she said that, I had an almighty contraction, and my legs were still like this from her having putting the catheter in. So she could obviously see everything. So I'm led like this, had this almighty contraction, and she went, whoa, okay, well, I can now see your baby's head. So she said, I don't think it's probably worth you getting back in the pool, because I think we're very, very soon going to meet your baby. So, and I thought, oh my god, this is it. Like, I was just getting to the point where I was about to be like, I can't do this anymore. And she said that, and I thought, oh my god, I've done it. Like, the baby's there, it's ready, it's ripe, it's there. And she said, oh, it's got loads of dark hair. We didn't know that it was a boy or a girl. She said, oh, you know, the baby's got loads of dark hair. We're going to meet your baby really soon. So she asked me to push. So I did in that position, I think once. And then I said, I've got to move. So I turned myself around, and I was holding onto the back of the bed, and I was on my knees. So I had sort of like gravity doing more of its thing. And I felt a lot more comfortable in that position. I felt like I needed gravity's help. It just felt more natural to me. So I was gripping on. So she said to me, right, you know, on the next contraction, give me a really, really big push. This happened twice, and the baby's head came down, but I didn't push quite hard enough, and it went back up again, basically. And I thought, oh no, am I not going to be able to do this? Like, in my head, I thought, shit, maybe I'm not cut out for being able to push this baby out. Then she said, she's like dabbing my bum with this like cotton wool and stuff, and just getting on with whatever she needed to get on with, you know, down there. She said, right, Laura, on the next contraction, she said, just give me the biggest push you can possibly give me, right into your bum, push. So I did, and out came the baby's head. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that I'd pushed the baby's head out. I thought I had, but I had to kind of check. I went, oh my god, is the head out? And she was like, yeah, you've done it, Laura, you've done it, the head's born. Oh, look at all that beautiful hair. And then she said to Sam, oh, Daddy, do you want to have a look? And he said, yeah, and which I didn't expect him to do, because he is, you know, totally squeamish, and I didn't expect him to want to have a look, but he did. And he went to me, can I have my arm, babe? And I was like, no. And so he went, oh, no, it's all right. So I didn't let go of him, so he wasn't able to have a look. But so there, the baby's head's out. Sam said it was quite funny that when the baby's head came out, a load more water flew out, and apparently it just went all over the student midwife. So bless her. He said it was pretty grim. She was just kind of like covered in this like gunk. So yeah, so I'm there, baby's head's out, and she said, right, on your next contraction, give me another big push and your baby's going to be here. So I started getting a bit emotional, but also like, come on, Laura, like you've done it. The next contraction felt like it was forever away. They'd been coming like boom, boom, boom. And then it felt like about 3 minutes. I don't think it was, but it felt like ages passed before the next one. Anyway, when it did come, I pushed, the baby came out. So because we didn't know what it was, Sam and I had somehow convinced ourselves that we were having a girl at the end. Don't know why, but we had. So I was expecting him to say, we've got a baby girl. So I heard the midwife say, oh, Dad, tell Laura what you've got. And I turned around, oh my God, like I nearly got choked up then. I turned around and looked at him, and he's got tears like streaming down his face. And he was like, oh my God, we've got a boy. Oh my God. He was like, oh my God, we've got a boy. And I was like, what? Like, oh my God, a boy. and it was just like, it was everything that I imagined it to be. It was the most magical moment ever. Exactly the reason why I didn't want to find out what we were having, because I imagined that moment to be magical, and it was. And honestly, I wish I had the birth on video. I really do, because I would love to watch it back, and I think I would probably cry every single time I did, but I would love to watch it back. But I haven't got it on video, but I've got it up here. And yeah, and then they passed him through my legs and gave him to me. He was only £6. He was tiny. He had all this dark hair, and I was just cuddling him skin to skin, and we already knew what his name was going to be. We knew he was going to be called Lenny if he was a boy, because that was after Sam's granddad, who he was really, really close to, and that just made it more emotional. And then his middle names are George William, which is after my stepdad and my granddad, so he's got a really, really special name. And this was 11:36 in the evening he was born, and obviously we knew that our mums were going to be just losing their minds about what was happening and what was going on, and if we'd had a safe arrival and everything. So we quickly FaceTimed my mum first and told her that we had a little boy, and then we FaceTimed Sam's mum and told her that we had a little boy, so that they could then go off to bed and we could see them the next day. And then we just sat there like, oh my god, I was like, oh my god, I did it. I can't believe I did it. I didn't have any pain relief at all, apart from those 2 paracetamol that my mum gave me at 3 o'clock. And that's not in a boastful way or like anything like that, because whatever your birth, however your baby comes into the world, you're a complete warrior. Every woman is, you know, childbirth is no joke. But I just had the most positive experience and the best experience I probably could ever wish for my first baby. And I wanted to share that because you hear so many stories about, oh, you know, we had a really traumatic birth, and, you know, really traumatic, and I think sometimes you think, oh, that's the only way that babies come into the world is via this traumatic experience. But for me, it was amazing, incredible, more than I could have ever asked for. I would do it again in a heartbeat. I loved it. I was just so proud of myself and proud of Sam, and yeah, I felt so empowered. I felt so amazing afterwards. I didn't tear, I didn't graze, I didn't need any stitches. The midwife was like, bloody hell, Laura, you literally just breathed that baby out and you are completely intact down there. She was like, I don't know how you've managed that, but well done. I mean, he was only £6, so definitely had size on my side, but just kind of goes to show that you can have the birth that you maybe imagine in your head. Maybe I manifested it, I don't know. I completely believe in the law of attraction. I completely believe in manifestation. Maybe I did manifest it. But yeah, I mean, it was just incredible, and we had beautiful, healthy, gorgeous baby boy, and it was just amazing. And then we didn't sleep all night because it was already 11:30, and then by the time we've had the tea and toast, which everyone raves about, by the way, but it's shit, so don't get excited about the tea and toast, it's bollocks. But the midwives were lovely, amazing, incredible. And we were in a private room for quite a few hours, and then we got moved down onto the ward for a few hours, and then we got sent home. But yeah, I mean, it was just the best experience. So if you're pregnant, if this is your first baby or second baby, I don't know, I love watching these videos, still love watching them even though my baby's here now. But you can have the positive birth. You can probably hear him crying. You can have the positive birth that you want. And yeah, just good luck if you're pregnant. I hope it's amazing for you. So yeah, thank you for watching all of this, 28, 29 minutes, 30 minutes. I hope it helps someone. I hope that it's useful. But yeah, thank you so much, guys. Bye.